Next up, we have Pierre Gratton, I believe, is joining us. Pierre is the CEO of the Mining Association of Canada. Most of the industry here in Canada will know Pierre. Mining Association of Canada is also referred to as MAC, so I might refer to it as MAC, as we in the industry do, because it is these important associations always end up getting shortened down a little bit. Now, MAC's members are engaged in mineral exploration, mining, smelting, refining, and semi-fabrication. Prior to his appointment at MAC, Pierre was president and CEO of the Mining Association of British Columbia. And prior to that, from 1999 to 2008, he served as vice president, sustainable development and public affairs for MAC, where he was instrumental in the development of Towards Sustainable Mining, which is MAC's flagship program that is gaining international recognition and adoption. It really is so crucial, Pierre, and it was such an important, essential initiative. You were far ahead of your time on that one, and we're seeing it now really being kind of the go-to standard internationally. We speak to international people on the Mining Symposium, and they refer to Towards Sustainable Mining. It has really set the mark. So kudos to you on that. How are you doing, Pierre? And are you joining us from the home base in Ottawa today? Where are you?
I am joining you from the home base. It's actually mining, what we call mining week on the hill. It's normally mining day on the hill, except there's this thing called the pandemic, which keeps us at home. Right. So we're doing it all virtually over the course of a week instead of a single sort of lobby day, okay, where we hit politicians and officials and talk to them about mining.
Okay, that's pretty crucial stuff. Well, we appreciate you. That's such an important week for you, and we appreciate you taking a few minutes to break from that and talk with us. We will keep it tight because you have important duties over there. But you're here today to talk to us in your capacity as chairman of the Canadian Mining Hall of Fame. We've had some exciting. I'm also on the board of the Canadian Mining Hall of Fame, for full disclosure. I'm proud to serve with Pierre on that board. And you're here today to talk about some of the newest members.
Yes. Yeah, we had 5 new inductees, which I guess we'll celebrate sometime next year. But 5 very impressive individuals coming from very different parts of the business. So it's a good amount of diversity this year. The first up was Bill Corman. The slide sort of says it all here, but lengthy career in this business, really known for the Penasquito mine more than anything else. Mexico's largest gold mine, and I think largest silver mine. But that was really sort of capping an otherwise lengthy and very successful career in the mining business. He built companies and made people a lot of money and gave people a lot of jobs, and is just one of those mine builders that we always see celebrated every year. And he's sort of our newest for this coming year. Another one, Maureen Jensen. Again, very impressive woman, known to everybody in this business. I've certainly known her for a long time now. Comes to mining through the regulatory side, leading the Ontario Securities Commission, and playing a critical role post-BRIEX in developing National Instrument 43101, which of course has set the bar globally. And really helped the industry turn a corner after what was really a dark period in our history. And of course, another one who smashed the glass ceiling, much like her good friend Pat Dillon did, who we inducted earlier this year. Philip John Mackey, a metallurgist, one of the most respected metallurgists in the world, known for his not just one but 2 innovative technologies in the copper business. As it was described, I haven't had the honor of meeting this man, but as has been described to me, he's virtually every metallurgist mentor. Everybody knows who he is and thinks extremely highly of him, and just a huge bastion of knowledge. And without people like him and with his brains and his contributions, the business wouldn't be where it is today. Then we have Bob Quartermain, or Robert Quartermain. Again, another person who's been in the industry a long time. Started, I think, with was it, now I'm going to forget here, Tech or Kaminko, one of those two when they were separate in the early days, but ultimately found great success in the last decade with Pretium Resources and the development of the Bruce Jack mine, which is now in the midst of a transaction, being in the process of being acquired by Newcrest out of Australia. Sort of the icing on the cake, fourth largest gold mine in the country right now. He's also, though, known as a genuinely great human being with a tremendous social conscience, very generous with his time, with his money, has a number of different initiatives underway, as a longstanding advocate for Indigenous involvement in the industry, and really has given back so much of his time to people, a huge promoter of diversity. So again, just a wonderful human being and very deserving inductee into the Mining Hall of Fame. And last but not least is, this was sort of if I could call it, the wild card. His nomination came to us through, I think it was the Ontario Mining Association, so not one of the four associations or organizations that run the Hall of Fame, and kind of came at us unexpectedly. But what an compelling story, and it's one that truly gripped every member of the board when we reviewed the nomination. The history of this man, born in the United States to a mixed family. I think it was Black mother, white father, or I may have that wrong. Now I'm forgetting. And they fled the Ku Klux Klan, who basically they were threatened with murder, with lynching, because it was an interracial marriage. They came to Canada, essentially sought asylum in Canada, ended up living in an Indigenous community in northern Canada, and then, thinking that maybe they'd escaped persecution, Peter Risby found himself taken and put into a residential school. Though not Indigenous himself, he was in an Indigenous community, and they took him and put him into a residential school, from which he escaped. And then it was the, I think, Cree community that hid him and kept him hidden from the school and from the RCMP, and enabled him to avoid, what we've heard about, the very, sort of horrific examples we've heard about the residential schools in this country in recent years. But in the process, he became fluent in the Indigenous language of his community, and became a very strong early advocate of Indigenous inclusion, and ended up having a very successful prospecting career. And what was funny is this was one of those examples, Tony, where it was after the fact, after he'd been nominated, and after I saw his picture, that a light went on, and I went, my God, I met this man. I mean, he's deceased now. Unfortunately, he will be the one person who won't be present. It will be his daughter, I believe, who will be accepting on his behalf. But I remember a little over a decade ago, I was up in the Yukon, I think it was in Dawson, and I met him in the chamber offices, and I remember how kind he was, and also how he was presented to me by the folks at the time as sort of one of their living legends. And sure enough, the nomination captured that, but it didn't dawn on me until afterwards that, my God, I actually knew this man. And I didn't know, of course, when I met him, his personal history and how much he had overcome to achieve success. So this is a really, really fascinating story, and another worthy inductee. So it's a great slate of candidates, Tony, and I think it was not a tough year for us to decide who we wanted in, was it?
No, it's one of those special years too, where we have this incredible kind of range. So we have the great company builders and Dale Corman and Rob Quartermain. Then we have this incredible prospector in Peter Risby. We have the metallurgist, the famed metallurgist, and John Mackey, and then Marine, of course, as you pointed to, on the regulatory side. And that's where so much of Canada's prestige comes through on that. So really interesting. I think it just represents the importance on all the kind of across the industry, how Canada really plays a crucial role, and thanks to individuals like these. So I agree, just a very, very powerful slate. Very excited for this next year. Pierre, can you fill the audience in a little bit on the plans for next year? Are we able to do that at this point? I don't even remember now if we've gone public with that. Have we told people what we're up
No,
to?
we're still. I mean, I'll qualify it. I mean, it's still a work in progress. This past year, we held a very different event because of the pandemic. As you know, it was a beautiful event at the Agricon Center in Toronto, but only attended by, I think, 120, 125 of us.
Right.
Outside in a covered tent for the dinner, and outside, fortunately, the weather cooperated. A beautiful screen on the beautiful white wall of the Agricon Center. And it was a lovely event. It was very close and intimate. And everybody really enjoyed it. Given the uncertainty around the pandemic, we are looking again at another smaller event, but we're certainly planning for one that's larger than this past summer. Again, in a venue that will allow for open air and the kind of COVID protocols and protections that we may need. Now, if we're lucky, come next summer, everything's going to be an awful lot safer, and we won't be quite as concerned as we were this past summer, but certainly for planning purposes, we are looking at not the usual return to the Congress Center in Toronto with our 1,000 closest friends, but something on a smaller scale. But I'm sure it'll be, as all of us who attended this year's event would say, that while it was small, it really was a beautiful event and very intimate. And in some ways, there were some nice things about, not having to find to go through the maze of 1,000 different people to find the people you wanted to talk to or to reconnect with.
That's right. The feedback
it was also probably the first time all of us got out to an event since the pandemic hit. And that too was a bit of a celebration.
Yes, no question about it. The vibes were very positive. The feedback we got was extremely strong. And listen, of course, we want to see as many people in the flesh as possible, but it was all captured on video. Everyone can go to the Canadian Mining Hall of Fame.
And we had a phenomenal MC, I might add.
Well, you were pretty good. Yes.
No, I meant you.
Pierre and I shared the duties, but thank you very much for that, Pierre. Listen, Pierre, I really appreciate you taking the time and coming to talk about this. The Canadian Mining Hall of Fame really does such important work for the entire industry. Pierre, we started off the day speaking with Mark Bristow, and Mark showed his great knowledge of the Canadian Mining Hall of Fame. We started off talking about Peter Monk, Bob Smith, and Brian Meikle, all Hall of Fame members. And Mark was talking about how much that means to the DNA of Barrick and about recruiting the next building. He didn't say recruiting. He wants to build the next Hall of Fame members from within his ranks. We're going to end the day. After you leave, we're going to talk to Rob McEwen, who is a Hall of Fame member as well. So
just a few years ago, that's right.
Yes. So the Hall of Fame is permeating through what we're doing on the symposium, and given your busy schedule there up on the hill on Mining Week, we really appreciate you taking the time.
All right. Thanks, Tony. It's a pleasure.
Cheers, Pierre. All the best.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.